What is going on, my YouTube friends and family and followers and subscribers? Welcome to another episode of A Therapeutic Edge. Today, on the table in front of us is a knife that I have no business liking as much as I do, but I do. This is the WE Knives Sugga, S-U-G-G-A. I don't know, S-U-G-G-A. You tell me how you want to hear that said, and I'll say it. It is a Mikkel Willumsen design. It is built by WE, as I mentioned, and it is built exceptionally well by WE. I had no interest in this knife at all. I had seen reviews online from Jimmy Slash and a couple other people, and it left me feeling like I didn't care. It just doesn't take pictures very well, and I don't expect it to do any better here today. But when I picked this up at Blade West, yeah, everything changed. This is an exceptionally good knife in hand. For me, your experience may vary, but it is really very, very good for me in hand. The carbon fiber is milled out to give it texture. The titanium on both sides is milled with these lines to give it texture. It is very grippy in hand and yet not obtrusive. There are no hot spots that I have discovered yet. This swell here allows you to really lock into this thing for push cuts. It has a natural ramp spot, which is a little far back on the knife for some people, for push cuts this way, but you can come forward and really get your thumb down on the blade. It has a choil that is squared off in a world of round choils, but it is a nice flat spot, and I have discovered that it holds my finger really well if I really want to choke up on the blade. Wow, I cannot talk today. You can come forward on the blade for precision work. This nice, beautiful belly allows for lots of good cuts. You can work on a cutting board with it very well. It has a nice, very thin tip, but there is a swedge that makes it look a little thinner than it is. So it's relatively, I'm not going to say it's robust, but I don't think it's fragile either. But you can really come forward on this knife and do fine work with that tip if you want to. I don't know what else to say about this thing, really, except that it is stupidly comfortable for how it looks. There are some neat features. There is jimping all along the lock bar here. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera. It's just a neat touch because the action is very good. There is no jimping on the flipper tab, and it has a very unobtrusive flipper tab, which is nice. But I kind of wish there was, because it's very slippery. And if you happen to be resting your fingers, as my big old meat hooks tend to do, on the lock bar, I've missed this a couple of times. But if you hold it like it's supposed to be held, it never fails. And I cannot flick this thing out. Yeah, no. If I do that any harder, I'm going to throw it across the room. The detent on this is spectacular, as WE tends to do. The action is beautiful. Again, because it's got, oh man, you can finger flick it because of this, not cut out, but cut into the blade. It's like a fuller, but a little larger, I guess. I don't know. It's a design aesthetic across the entire knife, these sort of cutouts. Mikkel Willumsen makes really interesting looking knives. His custom stuff is amazing. His budget stuff is amazing. And the stuff that he makes through companies like WE inevitably turn out to be some of my favorites, even if I didn't think it was going to be to begin with. This is a great knife. It is S35VN steel. It is very slicey, although if they'd have brought this flat up just a little bit, they could have gotten a little more grind and maybe made it a little thinner behind the edge. But I think this is designed to be considerably more of a worker, which is interesting because it looks like an art piece. Like I said, I wasn't interested in this when I saw pictures of it. It was when I got it in hand that changed. And I'm actually all for stuff like that. I think when knife designers push things to a place, it's a little bit like the Isham design stuff. I think when knife designers push things to a place where it's not immediately obvious whether you're going to like it or not, that I really start to enjoy it. Because it means you got to get it in hand, and you got to feel it, and you got to know if it's the knife for you. And the Sugga here is absolutely one of the knives for me. I love how they put the cutout for the flex on the lock bar on the inside. So it's a nice smooth plane, nothing gets in the way. It is held in place by a large screw back here and the pivot, and that's it. On the back, it is the same. The pocket clip, which is very good, by the way, on the ceramic ball, is actually screwed in from the underside, so there are no screws showing up here. In fact, the only thing that is a screw that holds in the steel lock bar insert. This is a very clean knife, considering its sort of complex design. I love it. You cannot get to the blade in the back here, although it does ride a little bit close. I think if you have very skinny fingers, even then you'd be okay. This is a really well-made and interesting knife. Now, mine is number 1 of 155, and it says so right here on the blade. 001 of 155. Now, that was an accident. They had 2 of these at Blade West in Oregon in 2019. I happened to buy one and just happened to get number 1. I didn't ask for it. Nobody told me it was coming, but when I got home that night and opened up the box, there's a certificate on the inside that shows that it is a numbered piece, and I ended up with number 1. I don't know what that means, except that I think it's cool. And it makes me happy. Let's do a size comparison, shall we? Well, let's first look at the overall size of this thing. The blade is 1, 2, 3, just about 3.5 inches, a little shy of 3.5 inches of cutting area, 3 3/4 inches overall in length. It is a tall blade. If we do it this way along that line, you can see that it is almost 1.5 inches this way. The knife closed does take up a fair amount of pocket real estate. Well, let's do it where you can see it. The knife closed is a little over 1.5 inches, so it does take up a fair amount of real estate. In its closed state, the knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, just about 5 inches long. Did I do the blade already? Well, let's do it again anyway. 1, 2, 3, I did. 3.5 inches of cutting surface. Overall length, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 inches long. This is a really good knife. Sorry, I just, it's one of those knives where I bought it and I still, like, when I see it laying there, I'm like, why did I buy that? And then I pick it up and it is immediately clear. Also, this is really good if you're into gas station fights. It is very pointy up here at the tip and very sturdy in hand. This is an elegant work knife. I don't know how else to describe it. I love this thing. I just do. I didn't think I was, like, I don't even know. I got it in my hand, decided I had to have it, and I've been kind of wrestling with it. But every time I take it out and play with it or carry it, I am reminded why I like it so much. It is very thin through the handle, coming in at actually just under 1/2 inch. So even though it takes up a fair amount of real estate in width, it is very narrow in the pocket. The pocket clip is very good. Let's grab one of our handy-dandy envelopes. Slides right up, and as you can see, you end up with, oh, what do you end up with? You end up with just about 1/4 inch, excuse me, 1/2 inch of knife sticking up out of the pocket, which is not bad. And again, it is a very attractive pocket clip, done very well with a ceramic ball down at this end. It slides in and out of the pocket exceptionally well because there's nothing to interfere with that travel. This is just a great knife. I really enjoy it. And you know, I think you might too. This is one of those knives that you're just going to have to trust me when I say, go out and get it in hand. Give it a shot and see how you feel about it, because it just doesn't do itself justice with pictures and a video. Here it is with our friend, the Rat Model 2. Model 1. As you can see, they are very similar in overall dimension, although this one is taller. We'll move that down and move this down. And we will drop our friend, the Rat Model 1. Again, that's the Rat Model 2. Man, I'm having one heck of a day. As you can see, dimensionally, that's where it lands. I hope that helps you out. Anyway, guys, this is a great knife. I love it. I think you would too. If you're not interested in giving it a shot because of the way it has looked in pictures or in the videos that you've watched, see if you can find one and put it in your hands. I think that if you have hands even remotely like mine, bigger hands, you're going to like this knife. I know I do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing this with you today. This has been the WE Knives Sugga, S-U-G-G-A, Sugga? Sugga? I don't know. Sugga by WE. It is a well-done knife. Anyway, again, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, I would love to have you on the channel on a regular basis. If you have any questions about this or any of the knives, feel free to ask down in the comments. We'll see you next time.